Chuckie Online in the Duffle Bag podcast. I got another special guest. I got Jasmine Jobson with me. What are you saying?
Get the job, son.
Yeah. How are you?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. For those who've got their head underneath a rock, Top Boy, you was a part of that. We're going to talk all about that. Okay. But there's so many things about you that I don't know that I want to get into. But firstly, I do want to say you absolutely bodied that character, though.
Thank you.
Seriously.
Thank you so much.
The feedback from that must have been like, what was the feedback from that? Like,
unreal.
Yeah.
Literally unreal. Like, obviously, from beginning to end of like filming it, there was continuous support and like, you know, you're part of something great and it's gonna be special and stuff. But then when it actually airs, and then the public get to see it, you know, their response has been surreal. Absolutely surreal. I honestly can't say that I've had any negativity from this at all. So
I can imagine that still. Like they're like literally after the thing had come out, like me and some of my friends, we had a really in-depth conversation dissecting everything, and like there was a lot of positive things that were said about you. I feel like, did you know that it was gonna be like this? Really, like you said that, you know, people are saying that you're like gonna be a part of something great, or a big moment or whatever. But like, did you feel it beforehand? Honestly, though.
Yeah, I mean, I knew from the beginning, like, I wanted to be a part of Top Boy. This was from when it first came out. You know, I knew that this was something that I wanted to be involved with, you know. So to then suddenly be a part of what I would say is the most highly anticipated show of the decade, let alone our generation, you know, it's mind-blowing. Yeah. It's mind-blowing.
So you watched it from back in the day, obviously. Yeah.
I was one of the kids that would be going to school every week like, oh my God, did you watch Top Boy last night? You know, that was me. Yeah,
it's mad. Like, you know, I filmed some behind-the-scenes stuff there, and I remember just thinking that and having conversations with people and saying that, like, I genuinely never expected it to come back. Even though there was always them conversations of like, this person's going to invest in it. This is going to happen or whatever. It got to a point where it was like, it's not going to happen and I'm actually okay with it.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? You know, when you just accept that it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Was it like that for you as well or not?
Yeah, it was at first. But then I guess you just always have to be hopeful, you know, and just hope that people's eyes will open and actually appreciate Top Boy for what it is, you know, and see it face value, which Drake did, just like everybody else, and decided, no, I'm not having it. We're going to make this happen.
100%.
So
I love a go-getter, you know. I'm not going to lie. I love you know, a person who's just like, you know, when someone just puts their money where their mouth is, and not even in the sense of literally like just finances, but just in general anyway. Because, you know, like, you know, there's a lot of talkers out there, innit? And we, in the creative industry, experience a lot of talkers as well. We come across a lot of talkers and stuff like that. When you encounter somebody or a group of people that actually just put their money where their mouth is, amazing things can happen.
Yeah.
Obviously, there can be mistakes that happen as well, or certain
things
you could fall short on or whatever it may be. But
that's the risk that you got to take.
You understand what I'm saying?
So that's why you got to put your money where your mouth is and take these risks. Otherwise, you're never going to get anywhere.
100%.
So,
well, like, can we go from the beginning a little bit?
Yeah.
I want to find out, like, where are you from, actually?
I'm originally from West London.
Yeah. Where's your parents from?
My mum is Greek, Cypriot and Irish. My dad is Jamaican.
Okay.
Dad is originally from, like, Tottenham area.
Yeah. Have you ever been back to Jamaica?
I haven't, no.
Okay.
I've never actually been. I'm so bad. God.
Yeah.
But no, I am planning to go back. It's just a matter of finding time now.
Of course.
The schedule's hectic.
Bare things changed now. I'm not going to lie to you, actually. I would have thought once that check cleared, boom, yard or wherever, quick, straight away.
Do you know what? That's what I thought. But it doesn't always work out like that. Like, it's done and you're like, all right, cool. I'm going to book in a holiday. And it's like, yeah, Jazz, you're booked in for this. I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
When did I audition for this? Oh, yeah, no, it was an offer and I accepted it for you. I'm like, oh, well, thanks for telling me. But it is what it is. You gotta love it.
Yeah. So did you grow up in North London as well? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I pretty much grew up all over London.
Oh.
Obviously, I put myself in foster care when I was 14 years old. So after living in like Edgware Road, Lisson Green, Harrow Road, and Mozart kind of area, I then moved to West Drayton.
Okay.
And I was living in Hillingdon for about 5 years.
Yeah.
And then I moved back down to Camden.
Yeah.
Because my foster care passed away in 2014.
Sorry to hear.
That's all right. She was a blessing. God rest her soul, man. Yeah. But yeah, so I moved into a flat in Camden. Social services got me my flat.
How old was you then?
I was turning 18, 19 at the time. And then, got my flat in Westminster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, social services granted me my 1-bedroom flat.
Yeah.
And literally there was only 4 young people out of every young person that they look after that get nominated for social housing every year.
Wow.
So obviously I got one because of my career and stuff, and they knew that I'd be able to hold on to it. But obviously, there's only 4 young people a year that get a flat out of Westminster.
I gotta take you up on little something that you just said actually, when you said that you put yourself in like with, what do you say, foster care. Like, talk to me a little bit about that. Like, how did you even know what that was?
Well, obviously everybody knows about social services, you know what I mean? But everybody just thinks, oh, they're just these people that take like kids off their parents and things like that. And I mean, in some cases that is the truth. But then in other cases, some people need to be taken out of those situations, in my case, we needed to be taken out of that situation. So we went to go live with my nan, and she's a dime a dozen, bless her. Like, my nan is an absolute angel. She didn't need to be a parent again. She's a nan. You're supposed to go to your nan's house and go get a cup of tea, get sweets, get molly and all that kind of stuff, but yet she's being a parent all over again, and then having to be grandparents to her great grandchildren as well. So it's a lot for her.
Do you know what, that's true when you think about it. It's like, I feel, even when you're just saying this now, it's almost like grannies find themselves a lot of the time in situations where they grow their kids and then almost have to grow kids again. It's mad. Like, and sometimes it's difficult because for some parents, it's like they find themselves in financial struggles and stuff, like, especially living in London and England or whatever. Inflation, you got to work 2 jobs and whatever. So all of a sudden, you don't want to give the kids to childminders or whatnot because stigmas and all of that. So nan literally just holds the bearing of all of that. But usually, sometimes being at nan's house is the place of like of tranquility in some sense. Do you know what I mean? Was that the same for you?
When we moved in with my nan, I'm not gonna lie, I was deteriorating because I was suffering with attachment issues. As far as I was concerned, I'm supposed to be with my mum. It's not my fault why I'm not able to be with her, but I need to be with her and I want to be with her now. And the fact that I couldn't be with her, I started behavioural issues getting bad. I would not be coming home from school until like 11 o'clock at night, and I'd still be in my school uniform.
Serious?
Yeah.
So you was on road till mad late?
Just
in
chilling.
the uniform and
just chilling because I didn't want to be at home because my mum weren't there. I wasn't going home to my mum. Do you know what I mean? So it was completely different. I honestly can't explain it. But I started to see behaviours in my nan change. I started to see like characteristics that wasn't her. Like she would always be miserable. She'd be tired all the time. She'd be smoking more cigarettes than I've ever seen her smoke before. And it's like, okay, something's
stress
going on here. Yeah, it was. And it took a little while for me to realise what I was doing. But I was like, something's going on here and I don't quite know what it is. But nan's not herself and I don't like it. Until one day I come home from school, and I was actually on time home from school for once. And I remember sitting on the sofa and my nan's asked my little sister to do something. She's gone, yeah, in a minute, nan. I'm going, what do you mean in a minute, nan? Get your backside up,
of course,
and go and do what nan's asked you to do.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, but you do it, Jasmine. And that's when the penny dropped. Do you know what I mean? My little sister G checked me about my behaviour because she's obviously picking up my mannerisms.
Yes.
So I was like, all right, something's obviously got to change here. So I had to take myself out of the situation. That's
a really interesting thing to do at such a young age. To be, because there's an element of self-awareness in that, innit? And I feel like for me anyway, when I was them ages, I was like so far from being self-aware of like my behavior and like how it was affecting people and stuff like that. Was you having conversations with anyone about it outside of that, or was it just like pretty much just bare self-reflection?
Yeah, no, this was all self-reflection. I've always kind of been like woke like that in a sense. Like, for example, when I was younger, my mum, my dad were absolutely amazing. Do you know what I mean? It's just something happened, you know? But I've always known right from wrong. Like, whenever I did something bad, my mum and my dad always made sure that they told me that it was bad. And more time, as I got older, even when I was doing naughty stuff, I knew what I was doing was wrong, but I still chose to do it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So you already understand from the get-go, I'm making a choice, innit? I know it's wrong, innit? But I'm
I've got
to
face the consequences.
And I'm down for that, because it just is what it is. Yeah, I hear you loud.
And this is why people always thought that I was such a problem, because I was semi-misunderstood in a sense, because I would do all of these mad things and then people would be like, oh, why are you doing them? Because I wanted to. Do you know what I mean? It is what it is. I knew what was going to happen. It is what it is. Like, if I got caught out for doing something, I'd openly be like, yeah, I did it.
Yeah. Is it because in your mind as well, yeah, there's like, you don't feel at the time there's a big enough consequence that's going to deter you from doing it in some sense? Do you get what I mean? It's like, all right, boom, I know if I go and I do X, Y, and Z, cool, some people are going to be upset and angry, but ultimately, like, what's going to happen?
What's going to happen? My mum's not there to discipline me. Who else is going to discipline me? That's literally what was going through my mind. And that's the sad thing about being a young person and thinking that as much as you know what you're doing, thinking that you could do whatever you want to. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not okay. It's not okay. And it's like, I literally had to sit there and reflect and like think to myself, do you know what? If I know what I'm doing is unacceptable, what makes what I'm doing acceptable? Do you know what I mean? Everything that I'm doing is wrong. So what makes it okay? Nothing makes this okay. So something had to stop. Do you know what I mean? And that's where I was like, do you know what? Let me put myself into foster care. It's the best situation for me. Helps my nan, helps my little sister. She's not picking up my bad mind attitude and behaviourisms. And I can possibly sort myself out and hopefully become better. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Next thing you know.
In the long term, obviously, it's done like really like all of these experiences and stuff like that have kind of put you in a position of where you're in today. But in the short term, see, when you was going for it, when you took yourself away from your family and stuff like that, even though you may still have been around a little bit, how did that feel though, to be actually away and to live with somebody who essentially isn't your family?
At first it was a little bit daunting, I'm not gonna lie, but it was the way that she angled me, the way my foster carer Valerie John, God rest her soul, the way she angled me when I moved in, I had to take my hat off to her. Like, I was this troubled little girl that was out doing whatever she wanted, whenever she wanted, and nobody could tell her anything. You know, to then suddenly move in with this lady, and I just laid my cards all on the table. I was like, right, this is what I do, this is where I go on, this is where I chill, this is where I stay, these are the times that I usually come home, blah, blah, blah. She was like, all right, and?
Okay.
And I was like, okay, all right, so that's what we're doing here. Yeah. Cool, no problem. Moved in. She was turned around and said, all right, cool, you want to go out? I said, all right, what time do you want me home? She was like, what time do you want to come home? I was like, all right, fucking hell, it's 9:30, all right? Yeah. She's like, yeah.
Okay.
9:30, make it 10 o'clock. If you're going to be any later, call me.
Yeah.
So, all right, cool. I was in the house by 8:30, sitting at the table waiting for dinner.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Is it now because... Now
it's the way she angled me.
You. Got you.
Instead of trying to... like, give me all of these like limits rules. And all of these rules and guidelines and things like that. She was like, do you know what? Do what you want to do. Just hit me up. From then, I was like, all right, cool. Do you know what? I have to angle you differently now because you're treating me differently. I can't be coming with my same characteristics and mannerisms and stuff if you're treating me different.
Of course.
So that's where I had to pattern up. And then we just found this balance.
Yeah.
We just found this balance, and then next thing you know, I was an actor.
Oh wow, yeah. But I definitely want to get into that as well. I think one of the reasons why I'm asking a lot of questions about this is that my nan was a foster carer, and it's funny because I feel that, and this is probably supernatural, I'm just like reflecting a lot now these days, and you know, like when you're young, when you're super young, sometimes you're not necessarily aware of like just how other people may feel about certain things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember now being at my nan's, and every like certain period of time there'd be like a new person that would come in to the house or whatever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like almost now a part of the family. There was one or two that actually stayed and is now my family.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I've got one person in particular. He's my cousin. He's not
Yeah.
foster cousin or whatever. He's my family.
Yeah.
I knew him from birth, and when I was obviously super young at that time too. But like, it's only now, yeah, I've started to think about, like, I wonder what it must have been like for that person to come into a whole new household, yeah, and be with a whole new bunch of people that you just don't know. For me, I'm coming home from school, gone to my nan's house as usual, whatever. Oh, there's a new person in there. Oh, at first I'm kind of on a vibe of, these are my toys. You're going to have to just chill out for a little bit, yeah, before we can work out,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, whether you can start playing with my Legos and all of these type of things. So you pattern up over there, I'll be over here, and then maybe at some point we'll, you know what I mean? But then, like, that must be difficult. Like, being in a situation like that obviously must be difficult, but you never, naturally as a child, yourself, you don't come into a situation and think, you know, this person's come in and it must be hard for them because they've got, you know, problems outside of that. You just go in and just do whatever you do as a child. You get what I'm saying? It's mad.
Yeah, no. One thing I will say, my foster sisters, they're absolutely amazing. They're all younger than me. But when I moved in, they were just so lovely.
Yeah.
Absolutely so lovely. And obviously they've probably seen loads and loads of like foster girls coming in and out of the household and things like that. But like when I moved in, it was literally like open arms.
Nice.
You know, so it was like even like times where I'd come down in the morning and I'm still kind of just touching ground with these guys. I'm still feeling a little bit nervous, not really too sure how to start a conversation and all of that.
Feel like home.
But yeah, they're walking, morning Jazz, you're all right, big cuddles. And I'm like, wow, okay. So is this what family feels like when you're not blood? Like, I like it.
Of course.
You know, and that's where I started to realise that you can be tight with your biological family. Of course, me and my bloods, we're like this, ain't nothing separating us. But then to then have myself being in foster care, it showed me that you don't necessarily have to be blood to be family. And you can find loyalties elsewhere.
100%.
You know? So it's like there's been times where it's like I've had to separate myself from biological family members. But then I've never actually lost. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's the benefit of putting yourself in foster care, because it's like some people do it for their own reasons. Some people do it because they just have no choice, you know, but you've now got extended family that will be with you for the rest of your life. So your family's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger every time.
100%. I think I so agree with that. It's like, you know, I come from a massive family. I've got a super, super big family, but the reality is, and it's just a fact, I've got, you know, friends that I consider way more my family. I got family members, honestly, I don't trust.
Yeah.
Now, there's times when I think to myself, I know this is like a proper deep thing to think about here, but sometimes I think, right, if I ever became like super successful or whatever, I couldn't let certain people know family wise where I live, because I just don't trust you. And also we just don't have that. We're family by blood, but really in terms of love and everything else and compatibility, we've
never been.
Yeah. If we wasn't family, we would never, we wouldn't chat. We wouldn't hang. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So how did the acting side come about? Actually, in fact, what was you like in school?
Oh my God, I was a tearaway.
Yeah, I can imagine. Still.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna lie.
He was on a madness, innit? Bare crud. Be honest.
Year 7, I'm not gonna lie. Year 7, I wasn't so bad. I was the girl that you would see run into their lessons, like because they wanted to be on time. Like I was a little goody two shoes in year 7, but
year 8 turned now, and it just got.
I don't know what happened, man. Just before the summer holidays, it's just like Jazz just went left. My auntie stopped calling me Jasmine. Yeah, she used to call me Jasminda. Because of my behaviour. So whenever I was good, I was Jasmine. And whenever I was a bad breed, I was Jasminda. So, yeah, that's where it all started. And then summer holidays come. And then it's like, out every single day, just chilling in Brent Cross Shopping Centre.
Yeah.
Like, it's mad.
Hey, everyone had a shopping centre that they used to hang in. Oh
It's
my
ridiculous.
God. Me and the man them used to hang around. Do you know what? We used to hang around in Ealing shopping centre. Then, we was like on the bus thing. And then we used to go Kingston and just hang around like Kingston shopping centre. And do bare chilling and that. Oh my God, we used to get up to a whole bunch of madness. In fact, you know, I remember one time I don't know if I should say this.
Might need to edit it out.
But we was just chilling outside the shopping centre, whatever. It was Halloween now. It got late. And then, you know, like people were walking around with masks and that on their face. But naturally, it's Halloween, innit?
Yeah.
So you're thinking, it's like, no big thing. Everyone's walking around with Halloween masks on. It's Halloween, innit? Anyway, as we're walking through the shopping centre now, next minute we see a door of like one of the shops open. But these times it's kind of late. So we're like, right, it looks a bit mad. Anyway, we've gone now, looked at through the door, the same man with the mask on in there, robbing out the place. So obviously now we're in a predicament because we're thinking to ourselves, like jacket's in there kind of lit.
Do we join him?
Nah, but we didn't.
Yeah, no, you can't, man. You can't. It cracks me up because I remember being in Cyprus when the riots kicked off.
Oh, okay.
And I was fuming. I'm not going to lie. I was probably about, 15, 16 years old, yeah. I'm in Cyprus and I'm like, are you telling me, screaming at my foster carer, are you telling me, Valerie, you brought me to Cyprus and there's riots going on in London? Do you know what I could be getting right now? I could be getting all the girls' bikes, all tracksuits, shoes. I could be getting you perfume.
Yeah.
What have you done to me?
FOMO.
You've ruined my summer. I was fuming.
FOMO started kicking in.
Literally, absolutely fuming.
Yeah.
And then, come back and she was paying me to do my GCSEs because I wouldn't do them.
Man.
Like, and that's where I knew, like, this woman is really trying to push me to do what is best for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, probably a good thing that she had me in Cyprus.
She was giving you some incentives and stuff
Literally. For every GCSE, what was it that I got C and above, I got £100 for.
Oh.
Because I was in a provisional unit. I wasn't actually in a mainstream school. I was in a provisional unit. I used to go QK Respite Re-engagement.
Oh, okay. I don't know what that is, by the way. But
well, it's the provisional unit that used to be attached to Quinton Kenniston when it was Quinton Kenniston. It's no longer Quinton Kenniston anymore.
Okay.
Funnily enough, Fredo was actually the year above me.
Oh, serious?
In re-engagement, and I was in respite.
Serious? Oh, yeah, it must have been.
Been bad breeds from young.
We used to call, I swear we used to call that centre.
Yeah,
man.
Or Prue or something.
I mean centre. I remember that still.
Yeah.
Yeah, you was a bad breed.
I was a bad
centre.
breed.
Yeah.
I was a bad breed.
There's something about being in year 7 or 8 and going away for the summer holidays and coming back that just changes bare people.
Yeah.
It's like almost like you're in primary school, you do all of that kid stuff, you go into high school, you think that you're kind of a big kid. Mm-hmm. And then you do that year and then you go out into just life for a little bit and you come back thinking, hold on a minute.
I'm bad. What do you mean?
What are you talking about? Like, I'm going to start running things. I'm comfortable now.
Literally.
So talk to me a little bit about like how the acting side came into play, because was you, out of all of the classes that you had in school in particular, was that the one class that you may have been taken a little bit more seriously or not really?
I mean, in secondary school, I didn't really take drama seriously. I was more, because I've been singing since I was 2 years old, so I was more just playing about with my vocals, just singing in the hallways with me and my girls, that kind of thing. But obviously I was studying drama and I was actually getting the highest grades out of everybody in my class in drama, and that was the only class that I was actually getting like 8 A's and things like that. So it's actually surprising. I don't know why I didn't take it for a GCSE. I just didn't choose it. I was more on my design technology rather than anything. Yeah, I'm more technical.
Shout out to Dr. O'Neill. That was my design technology teacher still.
Okay.
And I can't remember my drama, but I did take drama. I was on that still. I did alright in it, but yeah. I got a fascination about acting and stuff, but we'll get to that in a bit.
Okay. But yeah, so I didn't really take it too seriously. But then, I moved in with my foster carer, and then I must have been about 17 or 18. Actually, let me go all the way back. Let me go all the way back. From when I was little, obviously, like I said, I've been singing since I was 2 years old. It started off with like Bed Knobs and Broomsticks, Mary Poppins, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, all of that, you name it, I've sung it. And I must have been about 4 or 5 years old, and my mum turned around and said to me, "Oh, you think you can sing, yeah? Here's a Madam Butterfly CD."
Oh, for real?
Oh, yeah. So what was I doing up at 6 o'clock in the morning singing Madam Butterfly, doing opera in the bath? And she was like, well, there's no testing me, you know, there's no testing my limits. I will always challenge myself. But so then...
So what, did you have desires to want to beat to sing?
I think when I was that age, I don't think I really understood what I was doing. I was just more having fun. Like I used to mimic people off like the TV, like Christina Aguilera, like Destiny's Child, all of that. Like I used to just mimic myself, like mimic them, so I sounded like them, and that's how I trained myself into singing. So then, I think when I was about 5, maybe 6 years old, my mum put me into a performing arts group called Paddington Arts, and they're based in Westbourne Park, literally just behind Harrow Road, funnily enough. And they do floats and stuff every carnival as well. But I started off there.
Panorama they have around that around carnival time with all the floats and steel pan and stuff like that. But yeah, go on, sorry. Anyway.
But I started off there, and we done singing, acting, dancing, and my main thing there was like street dance and singing. So then obviously when I got older, and like my nan got me a karaoke machine, I think when I was like 7 years old, and that was torture for my mum because that karaoke machine come out every day.
Bare noise.
So then obviously when I hit secondary school and I jumped on like this little drama thing, it was pretty cool. I remember, what was it? I think it was my year 1 nativity play. I got Mary. For my year 1 nativity play. My year 6 leaving play, I played Romeo and Juliet. So I've always been put in a position where I've always taken lead roles.
Right.
So then when I've like come into my acting, I was like, do you know what? Either way, I've been taking on lead roles. Like, you've got this, Jazz. Just like go and do it, you know? Yeah. So when I was about 17, 18, a friend of the family introduced me to a lady called Maggie Norris.
Okay.
Now Maggie Norris met his friend of the family when he was in prison, and she was originally working in prisons like Wormwood Scrubs and things like that, working with some of the most dangerous prisoners and getting them to incorporate their stuff into acting. She then got paying public to come into the prisons to watch these performances.
Cold.
She then found out that 40% of the young people that are under the age of like, I think it's 25 and under, that go to prison all stem from social services.
Mad.
So she's decided that once she finished working with them, she was then going to start working with care leavers and ex-prisoners to stop them going to and going back to prison.
Of course.
And so then when my friend of the family's come out of prison, he's introduced me to her and was like, Jazz, like, obviously you're doing well, but you could be doing so much better. The way that you're going now, you're going to end up in jail.
Yeah.
Like, come and pattern with this lady, you meet her criteria, come and jump on the acting wave. And I was like, all right, okay.
Obviously you respected the opinion of that person.
Yeah, of course.
About it.
Yeah, I had to think about it. I slept on it. I was like, all right, sweet. Set up a phone call, spoke to Mags. She was like, yeah, come down, have a coffee with me. Like, we'll have a little chat and go from there. I said, all right, cool. Went down to her house, which was a bit mad. It's the first time some random person I've never met before is like, yeah, come to my house. Come into my cinema room, take a seat. So, all right, this is new to me. But sang her a song, improvised a little scene with an idea that she gave me. And
was you prepared to do that?
No, I wasn't. I was prepared to sing. I wasn't prepared to improvise anything, but I'm very good with making things up on the spot.
Well, when I say was you prepared to do that, did she say to you at some point that like, oh yeah, when we're gonna have a chat, I might ask you, okay, so you had to just go in off the whim, and then she's like, yeah, do this, do that.
Yeah, she was like, how do you fancy having a little sing for me? I was like, yeah, cool. Jumped on Alicia Keys' Falling, done that quickly. And then she was like, all right, so how'd you feel improvising a little scene for me?
Alicia Keys' Falling.
Just drop it a little quick one. That, you know? I know. But yeah, so from then she was like, all right, okay, so how do you fancy being a part of a production that I'm doing right now, which was called Wild Diamonds, written by a writer called Ben Musgrave. And yeah, so I got involved with that. We then performed that in Farringdon in front of, I think it was like I think it was paying public, but just random people that I obviously never knew. But we had ITV and Channel 4 that came down and filmed it as well. And then, next thing you know, I was like, all right, this is something I definitely want to be involved with.
Yeah.
And then she gave me the lead role to her next production, which then, funny enough, made me the first person to walk through her doors and first person of her charity-based company.
Wow.
The Big House Theatre Company that works with care leavers and ex-prisoners.
Wow. So is she still doing that?
Yeah, still running now. Social services send her young people every term. Every time we're doing a course, we get big agents that come down and watch the performances. Within about 3 weeks of us performing, and you know, before I even go into that, let me big up the Big House a little bit with their courses and what they do, because they take on young people that have no independent living skills, that don't know how to cook, don't know how to balance money, don't know how to fend for themselves, don't know their rights, don't know the benefit system, like don't even know how to sum up a proper CV, you know, and things like that. So these are the things that Big House do in a 12 to 13 week course. You know, they'll teach you how to balance your money. They'll get a company called My Bank that will come in and teach you how to buy what you need instead of what you want. Like you go through like these cooking courses where they teach you how to make cheap meals on cheap budgets that are actually healthy for you as well. Yeah. Like, so there's loads of different things that the Big House do, as well as acting.
Yeah, of course.
You know, like people don't always want to be an actor. Some choose they want to be behind the screen rather than in front of it. Yeah. So obviously that's a lot of what the Big House does and what Maggie does. She's a surrogate mother to quite a few of these young people. Some of these young people have no homes to go to. Some of them are homeless. Like Maggie's got people that are trying to find them hostels and accommodation and things like that. So like to then incorporate these young people, sit them all down in a room with a script writer to then listen to their stories and have their stories tailored into a script to then have characters tailored to match them personally. So then when they're actually on stage, everything that they're doing is so raw because it's true to them.
Word.
You know? So then next thing you know, we've got big agencies coming in. And obviously I was involved in the first production called Phoenix. And we had agencies like CAM, Curtis Brown and things like that come in. And I got signed within the first 3 weeks of us performing.
Wow. Do you know what, there's a bunch of things actually that you've mentioned that I just want to kind of go back to quickly, which I think is because I don't want to go off tangent, but my mind does this sometimes. But one of the things that you mentioned, would you say is it Big House? The Big House Theatre Company. Teaching people how to balance their money, I feel is one of the key and fundamental thing of growing up. You know, like seriously. I can't even stress how important that is. I think that like that for me is based off a lot of lessons that I learned from growing up and stuff like that. I never had conversations with anyone about money. And a lot of people that I grew up around in my environment didn't really have a lot of conversations with people about money. Yeah. So then as you get older and you're looking to get certain things or whatever it is, and then you start learning about credit and all of these other bits and pieces, then you think, like I did all of this stuff that's just mashed up my credit, but I didn't know anything about that. So I know that this maybe technically what they were teaching is a little bit different to that. Ultimately, the sentiment is the same, because learning how to balance your money at a young age is always going to help you as you become an adult. Do you know what I mean? And the other thing was essentially going to Maggie's house was essentially like your first audition without you even realizing it, innit? Right? Yeah, that's crazy.
It's insane.
And then look what happens from there. So you was talking about your being signed to an agency.
Yes, yeah. I had like 4 agencies that wanted me off the back of Phoenix, and it was like, all right, what do I do here? The 2 that mainly stood out for myself and Maggie was obviously CAM and Curtis Brown. So then I had to sit down and really decide which agency was best for me and my needs and what I wanted and where I wanted to be.
Did you know? Yeah. At that point, did you know where you wanted to be and the direction you kind of wanted to go in? Did you have that?
I knew the direction that I wanted to go in. I didn't necessarily know where I was going to end up. But then it's also having to respect where I've come from and my history, and know that there's a lot of baggage that I come with, you know. So is my agent able to meet my needs as much as I'm able to meet theirs? You know, we need to have an understanding, you know, because I came from a vulnerable background, and at that time I was a vulnerable young person. I couldn't necessarily just be treated like any other young female actress. Do you know what I mean? They would have to tailor like how they treat me differently to how they would treat their other actors, you know? So I had to really take that into consideration.
Was you aware of that? Yeah.
Yeah. My
I think that's sick.
Maggie was the one who made me aware of that.
It sounds basic, but it's really not. Trust me. To be like self-aware like that, yeah, to know that, you know what, I'm different. I'm different in how I move, and obviously I come from a certain type of environment, and I have certain types of emotions that I express in a certain way that may be an acquired taste for someone. So I need to figure out who is going to be able to work with me so that we can connect together. Otherwise, it's going to be an absolute disaster.
Exactly.
Because a lot of the time it could be.
Exactly.
You know?
And the last thing that you want to do is put yourself in a situation where they don't understand you, and then you just look like you're hard to work with or you're unprofessional, you know. And sometimes with some people that is the case, you know, but with more time that's not actually the case. It's just that they haven't actually sat down and spoken about their needs, what they want and things like that, and found a common ground. Do you know what I mean? In order to be able to move forward evenly, you know. So obviously, not saying anything bad about Curtis Brown, they're an absolutely amazing agency. I know so many actors that are with them, you know. I send them actors as well, do you know what I mean? Like, but Cam was just the one for me, you know, and I've been with them since the beginning and I haven't left. You know, everything seems to be going pretty good. Good.
Yeah. So then, like, how long have you been with them for?
Since about 2014. Oh,
okay.
Since 2014, yeah.
And so obviously since then, you're like, a lot of things have happened from you. You've been able to, they send you to auditions and all of these things. What was it like? Because that first audition there, you're auditioning essentially at Maggie's Yard. Yeah, Maggie's Yard sounds like a Caribbean joint.
No, do you know what? Because it's mad. We all say that. Yeah, I'm just going to Maggie's Yard quick. Maggie's
Yard. So anyway, you're at Maggie's Yard doing your thing. Yeah, with auditioning without even realizing that you're really auditioning. Yeah. And then now you're put in a situation where, of course, like you've had a couple jobs and been able to do certain things. Yeah. What was it like actually going into proper auditions now, where nobody don't really know you? Yeah, Maggie's not there. Yeah, and now you know you're going for a certain part or whatever. Like, what's that like first time around?
First time is definitely nerve-wracking because obviously Maggie's not with me. My crutch has gone, you know. So I'm like, all right, cool. I've got to be my own backbone, but it's all right. I've done things on my own for how long now? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Get your chin up and just go in head first. You know, so that's what I had to do. Sat down and it was a bit weird. I remember my first audition actually was Centrepoint commercial.
Okay.
And I hadn't been given a script. So, because I hadn't had sides the night before or anything, I was like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to say. How am I supposed to learn my lines? Like, these guys are just randomly throwing me into this. Like, this is my first audition. How is this acceptable? But I was like, do you know what? Just be prepared to have the unexpected. Do you know what I mean? And that's what you have to do in this job. Just be prepared to not know what's going on sometimes and have to improvise with it. Yeah. So walked in there, got handed this sheet of paper, and it was like, yeah, just give it a read through. We're not expecting you to memorize it. I'm like, all right, that means I bloody better memorize it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I'm not expecting you, but underline that is, if you know it, then it's better that you do.
And if you can memorize it, get it down. I sat there with this sheet of paper and I'm reading it and I'm like, this is not going in. This is not going in no matter how many times I read it.
Damn.
But went into the room and it's so funny because I've gone into the room in my purple Adidas tracksuit, like got my Air Forces and all of this big puffer jacket, like looking like some little hood rat straight off the streets. And then I'm reading this piece of paper and it got to a point talking about a a young girl being raped by her stepdad.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened, but as I was reading it, it's like I just choked up.
Wow.
And I started crying as I was reading this off the piece of paper. And it's like, I'm looking at them, but I'm glancing back at it and I'm bawling my eyes out, can barely speak, yeah. I've walked out of the audition so fuming with myself, like, you it up. Sorry, you messed it up.
Yeah.
Like, you was barely, like, speaking. You was crying the whole time. Like, how unprofessional. There was snot coming out your nose. Like, it's so embarrassing.
Yeah, but that, to them, they must have thought that was the best thing ever in life.
Mate, I got a phone call an hour later, like, yeah, Jazz, you've got the job. They cancelled all the auditions for the rest of the day. They said, yeah, Jazz was absolutely amazing. I was like, what?
Serious?
So I'm better just like stay in my feelings, because I'm very much like my mum when it comes to my emotions.
Okay.
I'm very, very in touch with my emotions. I'm very in my feelings. I'm very, very empathetic as well. Like, I can put myself in somebody's shoes and feel exactly how they're feeling. And then suddenly I've taken on that burden. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's
That's
ridiculous.
interesting that you mentioned that. I was having a conversation with someone else about emotions, and I was talking about, like, I said to him, are you an emotional man? And at first he was like, nah. And then, which went into a conversation about the negative stigmas of saying that you are emotional, because usually, especially as a man, you say, like, okay, this person's emotional, or I might say I'm emotional, and straight away in your head you think of the sensitivity part of me crying, or, you know, like being sad and upset or whatever. But let's say, for example, you take another instance of a person out on the street, and every 5 minutes he's knocking somebody out because he's vexed. That's an emotional man. That's emotional. That's a very emotional man. So it was just like having that conversation about being in touch or in tune with your emotions and how deep you feel them. I feel like as the years go on, I'm not gonna lie to you, I feel emotions when it comes to negative but also positive. Like, there's certain things that from a positive aspect here that, like, I just feel it. Do you get what I'm saying?
The words right out of my mouth. I think that comes with, like, having, you know, and it's like everybody talks about energy. Yeah, we all talk about energy and being woke and all this kind of stuff, but people just talk about energy. Do you know what I mean? Like, in order for you to be really in touch with your emotions, you have energy. Word. Do you know what I mean? Because you can pick up on different waves that nobody else would normally pick up on. Like, if you can walk into a room and change the whole atmosphere, you're an energy force in itself. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then it even comes down to the point of, like, being an empath. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? To a certain point, like, I believe that I am an empath. It's just that I haven't trained myself like that far enough to it. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, it's interesting still. I catch times like 16 minutes past 16 and all that, and I'm like, energy, energy. Yes, I'm in touch. I hear that. You know, but yeah.
I was reading an article actually, not even that long ago. I made some notes of it, and it was about like common issues that actors have. I've made like a couple notes of them. I want to speak to you about some of them and just get your experiences on them. But one being, which I guess must be a super common one, is memory loss, because you just talked about it just now. I told you before as well, I've got this fascination about like actors and whatever, and this is also coming from a man who I ain't even watched a lot of stuff. Like, I just like watch what I like. Do you get what I'm saying? I see what I like, whatever, and I say I'm not a person who just watches bare films just to watch bare films. But sometimes what I do catch myself doing is watching when an actor is like obviously in their character and they're talking for time. And in my head, I'm not even listening to what they're actually saying. I'm watching how long they are speaking. And I'm in my head, I'm visualizing this piece of paper. And I'm like, rotted. That was like 3 pieces of paper in one bit. That is mad to me. Talk to me a little bit about like memory loss from your aspect.
Do you know what? I'll be honest with you. I have no memory. If me and you was to be like, it's very good that we're like talking now,
Yeah.
but like you're able to like touch on things. But if we was to like try and touch on something that we spoke about like 5 minutes ago, I would not be able to remember it.
Yeah.
But then if you used to give me a script, give me 15-20 minutes and I'll have that down completely off page and I'll remember that until next week.
That is a real skill, you know.
I don't know what it is.
So what did you have like is there a technique?
Do you know, it's difficult because it's like I've learned so many different ways over the years. Because obviously I started off in theatre. So in theatre, there's a lot of repetition and over and over and over again. Like, but then what Maggie would tend to do with me, because I used to like to keep my script as like a crutch. And she never used to like that. So she used to let me have my script for like 10 to 15 minutes.
What do you mean script as a crutch? What do you mean
crutch, like, as in, say I kind of already know my script, I would still like to have it in my hand just in case I forget something. I can just be like, and then go back rather than testing my mind and my memory.
There's a big difference between when you got it in your hand and then you have to let it go.
Your mind just goes with it.
Yeah.
Your mind literally just goes with it. So it's like, what she used to do is she used to make us like, she'll give us like 15-20 minutes like to sit in a group or whatever and we'd run it, or she'd put it on his feet and then she'd be directing the scene as like we're learning the lines as well. So then we've got little memories with movements. So then certain lines will stick up because it's like, oh, I'm over there by that tree when I say this line. So then eventually after 20 minutes, you're like, right, give me that. I'm like, no, what do you mean I don't know it? Yes, you do know it. I've seen you do it without it. Give me the script. I give it to her. If I ever got stuck on a line, I'd just say line and she'd cue me.
Okay.
And then next thing you know, I'd know it. So then every time that she'd give me a script, she'd just leave me for 15 minutes and then confiscate my script.
Yeah.
And then I would just ask her to cue me with a line or something like that.
Yeah.
So then when it went into going into TV now, it was different because you don't have time to be learning your lines with your cast on set. Do you know what I mean? Like,
so you have to learn them separately.
You have to learn it before the night before or something like that.
Yeah.
So then when you come in and you have to know everybody else's lines, so then you know your cues. So then when you come in and you run the lines of other people, you know when their cues are coming in. So then you can just work your acting around how they're directing their cues now. So it's a lot of pre-planning with TV, whereas with theatre, because you're all in a group and you're all there. Yeah,
you're constantly just.
You're able to just run it.
And then is film the same almost with TV? Because naturally, you would have to learn. I guess you wouldn't have to necessarily have to learn them the day before, but naturally you need to learn your lines and then you go on set. And then are you doing it then or not really? Do you learn? Do you kind of have a lot of time where you're going back and forth together?
It depends on how big of a scene it is, for one, and then it also depends on how much time you have before you're actually due to go to set. Like, for example, when we was on the set of Top Boy, there'd be times where we'd come in and we'd have random script changes. So we've basically got a whole new scene. So we've now got to learn a whole new scene because they've decided that this doesn't go with that and they've changed the scene round, or they've dropped a scene and then added something in instead. So we've then got to either just learn it on our own.
Go in your little trailer.
Spend 15 minutes, learn it on your own.
15 minutes?
Well, I don't know. That's how long it takes me. That's how long it takes me to like do one scene anyway. Like 15 minutes and I can get a 4-page scene down. That's fine.
4-page scene? I'm going to try this one. You know what I should have done?
Just break it down, babe. Just break it down. It makes it so much easier, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, how can I say it? All right, so Ed Skrein is an amazing actor. Now, he is actually a mentor to my brother Aaron. Now, this is like we saying about friends being your family. Aaron is one of them. He's my big brother. So he is his mentor. Now, when it comes down to Aaron learning lines and things like that, Ed used to say, do it 12 by 12 by 12. And I had no idea what that meant. But it meant, like, try memorize it once, but just read your script 12 times in the morning, read it again 12 times in the afternoon, and read it 12 times again in the evening. You should know that off by heart by the first 12 times that you've read it. So then you can put your script down and then just do it off by heart for the rest of the day. 12 by 12 by 12. The next day you'll know that completely off page and you'd be able to put it on his feet and do whatever.
Of course.
And I was like, all right, cool. I'll use that as a tester of me coming from theatre into TV, 12 by 12 by 12 because of the repetition and stuff. That's what I'm used to. Once I've got that with the muscle memory, I know that I can memorize things like that then, because if I can memorize things in 12s, all I need to do is make that 12 a little bit faster and break it to learn it down in an hour.
Of course.
You know, so then I used to time myself to learn it within an hour. If I can read it 12 times within an hour, do it after an hour, I'll know it completely off page.
Yeah, that's dope.
And that's how I used to build my muscle memory, to then going into filming Top Boy now.
Yeah.
And we're getting these random scene changes. Like, you're already prepared to then just pick something up and just learn it.
Yeah.
So now I could potentially pick up a script and say I've got, I don't know, say I've got 10 lines in that first page. I'd cut that whole page in half, and I'd learn those 5 lines, put that on his feet. Once that's memorized, all right, cool. Cue in the next 5 lines with the 5th line of the first block. So then it connects them 2 together. So then I've suddenly got the whole page. Boom, I've got the whole page down in 10 minutes.
Mad.
Go straight on to the next one, you know, and just do half by half by half. If you try and do the whole thing, it's too much for your head.
Yeah.
If you break it down in half,
you have
you
to
get
break,
more
like,
in faster.
you take it down, break it down into small, simple maths. Bam.
And you get more in a faster space of time.
Sick.
Well, a shorter space of time, should I say.
How many times did you have scene changes like that, though? Or, like, random? How many times, on average, do you think that happened?
I'd say a couple of times without Kano, every time with Kano.
Really?
But
Serious?
I love him for it. I love him for it, because it's like, he would pick up the scene and he'd be like, do you know what? No, I'm not saying that.
Oh, I love that.
No, I'm not saying that. It's
not what we would
it's
say
not my
or how-
character. It's not
yeah.
genuine. It's not Sully. You know, like me and Ashley, it's so funny. There was a time, me and Ash still crack up about this. But we turned up to set one day and we was literally just rehearsing the scene, because it was a big scene. We're rehearsing the scene, and we turned to Kano for his line, and he's like, "Yeah, sorry, I ain't saying that." He was like, "But hold on." You could have told us.
Time ago.
Like, wait, hold on. Furthermore, where's my cue now?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know where my cue is. Like, but the scene was the best scene.
But also on top of that, it's not like he's saying, I'm not saying that and not giving insight into what he thinks his character would do.
No, he's
it's
not
more
just
of
throwing
like,
it
I'm not
away.
saying that, but this is what I think I should
he's not
say.
dismissing the idea at all. It's more, I'm not saying that, I'd say it like this.
Yeah.
Or this isn't how my character would do it. We'd do it like this, you know? And like, Ronan Bennett is very respectful, and we're very respectful towards him as well. We have to be, you know, but he's very respectful towards us as well, because he's understanding of there's some things that he might not always get right.
Yes.
You know, like, so we have that opportunity and we have that freedom to be able to be like, all right, cool, is it all right if we switch this to that? Because we wouldn't say it like that.
Yeah.
We would say it like this.
Of course.
You know? Yeah, sweet, do your thing.
Yeah,
Like, all right, cool.
No, I respect that. I definitely do. And do you know, in my head, I don't know why this has come to me, but it's just that scene. It always comes to my head where he goes to the Shane, where like, I think Jamie and them lot was shooting at him or whatever, innit? And he comes back and he's on to Shane on the thing of, we need to ride out, bro. And then the Shane's kind of a bit relaxed with it, and he's like, hold on a minute.
Yeah.
Why ain't you mad?
Yeah, why
like,
ain't you mad?
If this was you, I'd be riding out, bro.
I'm always getting mad. Yeah.
I like that.
Trust me. And that's why he had to come and get me.
Okay, of
That's
course.
why he had to come and get me, because he knows I will ride out.
You'll ride out.
I will
he was
ride
always
out.
Jack
Loyal
was the
to a
character
fault.
who was on, like, whatever the team is, whatever you say, I'm here for the team, innit?
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's wrong, I'll be wrong with you.
I'll be wrong and strong. I don't mind. I'll be wrong and
Yeah.
strong. I don't mind. I hold my hands up and be like, yeah, I did it, bro. But I did it for the team. So take me.
Yeah,
Do
exactly.
you know what I mean? It don't matter.
No, I respect that. We're gonna get to your character in a bit. No. The other thing that was in that article that I was reading was emotion, yeah, and like how you connect with emotion and like how you cry and all of these different things, yeah. But you kind of spoke about that already.
Yeah.
Even though you kind of cried because you read the thing and you like felt it on a deeper level, yeah.
Yeah.
But what happens when you have like a situation where you have to find emotion somewhere?
Yeah, you have to really. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't know. Have you seen the fight scene between me and my sister, right?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So we both had to tap into a really, really dark place in order to do that scene. Her especially, you know. So it's like, I know from experience, you have to think about some really, really dark stuff that you've been through, or something that's happened, or something that you've seen, or like a certain way that's made you feel like a certain type of way. You know, like you really have to tap into that and like amplify your emotions. And getting into that is something else, because it's like, especially if like you're on a tight schedule, like if you're shooting and it's like, right guys, like we need to get this down, and it's like, yeah, that's fine, but you ain't gonna get tears from me until I get there, so you might want to be running a little bit behind schedule for me just so I can get there, you know, otherwise it's tear sticks. You know, and I don't like using tear sticks because it's not genuine. You know, with my acting, and this is a problem for me, because it's like I take myself too seriously with my acting. Like that specific scene that I'm talking about, when I was losing my temper in that scene, I was actually genuinely losing my temper. Because I was angry with myself, because like there was a point where I couldn't get to a certain, because it's, you got to think like it's such a small room. It's a tiny little box room. All we've got in this room is a wardrobe, a king size bed, and there's like that much space in between the king size bed and the wardrobe, and I've got to be battering my sister in that little space. So it's like I broke the wardrobe door. I took the wardrobe door off its hinges. That's how much space I had, and I was just bumping off everything, you know. So I'm literally losing my temper in this one room, and I'm having to stay professional, obviously, but then I'm angry with myself because I'm not able to get to where I need to get to. So this is where I take myself too seriously. But then, because of how angry I was with myself, look how amazing the scene was.
Of course.
You know, and it's like, I have to give myself credit where it's due, but then at the same time, I always have to tell myself, you need to stop being like your worst critic. I'm always my worst critic. I'm too hard on myself.
That goes to the other thing that was in the article, which was fear. And sometimes what you said there may not necessarily stem from fear or base off fear, but in the article it was like fear of really embodying the character, or fear of like connecting with a character. Do you get what I'm saying? Or even fear of not even wanting to like take that role because you think, you know what, that role may require a certain type of emotion, so to speak. Do you get what I'm saying?
It was difficult because it's like, when people ask me about Jack, like, obviously, I keep it 100 all the time. So it's like, I literally would just have to say, like, well, Jack was me back in the day. Just take away the lesbian bit, you know? That's the kind of ish that I used to get up to when I was younger. So it's like, then to take on that role, it's almost scary, because it's like you're tapping back into your old self. And as people say, it's very easy to get back into old routines and things like that. So it's like, then when you're going back into that, it's like, like, I need to like know how to separate myself from this character now. Of course.
Especially considering how much time you have to be this character and essentially be your old self again. So, you know, when you're being your old self now for, you know, 6 months to a year or however long you're filming, it's very easy to start picking up those habits of the old you. Do you know what I mean? But then it's like, this is where it's like, you have to remember who you are. Of course. You know, and I think if you don't know who you are, and if you're very easily influenced as a person, then of course you'll go straight into that, and you're kind of do you know what I mean? But like, you have to learn how to separate yourself from that. So it's like, it was a lot for me, because it's like, I was coming back to set, and then I was coming out of my costume, and as I was taking off my costume, it was a little part of Jack getting put away again, you know. So then when I got into my cab, I was Jasmine all over again. Do you know what I mean? And I was able to wind myself down and all of that kind of stuff. And I think you have to be able to separate yourself. But then it comes down to also, like, you don't necessarily want to be typecasted, because obviously where I've been through that and now I've taken on this role, it's very easy for people to be like, oh, well, do you know what? Yeah, you're good at that. You're very good at getting angry. Go get that role, you know? But you don't want that. You don't want that consistently. You know, you want to be able to branch out. And because of the fact that I am a very empathetic person, I am very versatile. So when it comes down to, I've had so many roles that are similar to Jack that I've come through, and I've just been like, no, you know, don't get me wrong. All right,
I could take on the role and I'd smash it, you know, but I only took on Jack to give people awareness. I didn't take on Jack to show people, oh yeah, like this is the hood life and yeah, but gang. Do you know what I mean? I did it to show people like, you can change your lifestyles. You know, this is what happens when you go down this road. You end up getting beaten up for being a snake. You end up getting shot at because of you're a madman. Do you know what I mean? You're going to end up going to prison. Like, you're going to end up getting stabbed. You're a little boy getting groomed by a grown-ass girl. You know, all of these little things, like, to show people it's unacceptable. It's not okay. Change people's lifestyles. This is why, for example, I take on rape victim roles. Okay. Which is a really difficult subject.
That's got to be super difficult to embody a character like that, because you know, going through an experience like that in real life is naturally super traumatic, and an element of you're violating someone's soul when you're doing that. Literally. So when you're now having to embody a character like that, that has to be weighty.
It's a lot, you know, but at the same time, it's awareness. Yes. You know, with that, I can change somebody's perceptions. You know, with that, I could possibly change somebody's life or help benefit somebody's life. Yeah. You know, like, speaking from a victim side of things, like telling them that, no, it's not okay what's happened to you, but it's okay to speak about it. Word. You know, it's okay to make them know what they did was wrong, and it's okay to make them pay for it. Word. You know, but it's not okay for you to be sitting there and making yourself feel shit because of what happened to you, because that's not your fault, you know. And then being on the abuser side, for example, like, you need to teach them that, no, it's not okay what you're doing, you're actually hurting someone, because more time they might not actually see that. Yeah, of course. More time they could have been abused their whole life and they don't know.
When things like that happen, their actions they may not even necessarily be 100% aware of what they're doing.
They might not know what they're doing because it's probably happened to them.
That's true.
Do you know? And even then, they might know what they're doing and just like what they're doing because of power.
Yeah, that's true.
You know? And it's a matter of, it's a very fine line. It's really taboo, that subject. But I think it's a matter of making people understand, you know, and be able to make a choice for themselves, you know, and so that's kind of why I take on these kind of roles. I like people to think about things.
Yeah, of course. So that would squash you. Like, I could not see you being a person who would fear a character role, especially if if you're willing to take on a role that is as deep as that. The last thing that I saw on the article was believability. Because, you know, like, sometimes I might watch something and I get what it is that this person is trying to do, but I don't really believe, and I don't believe it. Do you get what I'm saying? And I don't know how to pose this to you, but, like, does believability, is that a thing that sort of, like, plays in your head a little bit when you're taking how much all the time how much you want people to believe you as believe your character?
All the time. I remember it's funny because I did a short film with BBC, and this was like a monologue short film, so it was literally just me talking into the camera, and the camera was you. Like, that's how mad it was. And like, my character was in like this youth offending type prison because she'd basically burnt down a house and killed her best friend in it, like, and all this kind of stuff. And she didn't mean to do it. It was an accident and blah, blah, blah. But there was one scene where I had to come out like all mad emotional, screaming at my worker. And I'm not going to lie, I was struggling to get there. I was having a pretty good day. And when you're in a good mood, it's kind of hard to bring yourself down sometimes. So I couldn't get myself there. So I'm trying. And I remember the director just going to me, Jasmine, I don't believe you. Like, I do not believe you. And that's where I was like, what do you mean you don't believe me? No. This is my life, bro. This pays my bills. What do you mean you don't believe me? From then, I was
now you get in there. I was
vexed. Come out bawling, screaming the place down.
Was that a tactic?
He probably did. He probably used it as a tactic.
When he said, "I don't believe you," how did he say it? Did he like? Was it like this? Was it like, Jazz? I don't. What's your character name? Do you remember your character name in that?
Oh God.
Let's say it's Samantha. Samantha, I don't believe you. Or did he yell it at you like to amp you up? Like
he just bluntly looked at me and was like, I don't believe you. I was like, what do you mean you don't believe me? He's like, I don't believe you. Like, I'm sorry. Go back round there and do it again. I was like, what do you mean? So I'm sorry, who are you talking to? Ain't nobody spoken to me like that. Yeah. So I was like, all right, okay. So I'm vexed now. Like, okay, this guy's told me he don't believe me, and then he spoke to me like I'm a dickhead. Like, I'm not having this. So yeah.
Believability is the key thing in it. Because
no, definitely.
if I'm watching a film, I have to believe you, and then you get situations where you believe. Do you ever remember a character called Mr. Bean?
Yes.
Yeah. I believe that's how he was every day.
Yeah.
Like so whenever I saw him and he wasn't like that, that was just nuts to me.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey was another one of them type of actors where it's like he would play certain type of characters and I believe it so much that when I see him outside of it, it's like it's mad. I bet that must kind of happen with some of you a little bit with Top Boy now as well. Some people believe your character so much. Yeah,
people
that,
scream Jack at me as I'm walking down the road.
Yeah.
I'm walking down the road, I hear Jack. I'm like, and that's the
like,
weird
right,
thing.
Jack's safe.
My head's still turning round. Yeah. We stopped filming Top Boy how long? But because I was that character for 7 months, every time I hear Jack, I'm like, yo, oh shit, I'm Jasmine.
Yeah.
Like, I forget who I am. Like, it's mad.
I see people even with Kane like, oh right, like Sully raps.
So, oh my God.
I can't believe Sully's got an album out. Like seriously, Sully's got bars like that.
Stupidness. I'm sorry, like, but God, like I have to say to people sometimes, I'm like, I don't want to be rude. Please don't take this as me being horrid, but learn how to separate reality from fiction. God damn it! Yeah. Like I've had enough.
Yeah.
No, man, Jesus wept.
As I said, I was on I was at the last day of filming, like your last day. I don't think I saw you there.
No, I don't think I was there.
And I noticed something that was super interesting. I spoke about it a few times here. So I'm like doing these like backstage interviews, chatting to a couple of people, and some of them I already know, so I got a good rapport with some of them and them or whatever. And then I noticed like when we got there super early. Bashi, Ashley Thomas pulls up in the car that's dropping you lot off. Yeah. Then he's gone to his trailer. I've known him for a very long time, but I hadn't seen him for a little while. So I'm like, oh shit, I'm looking forward to like boom.
Yeah.
So anyway, now he's come out maybe a couple of hours later to do a scene or whatever. And as he's walking towards me, I've gone towards him like, yo, on a vibe of what? Like, I ain't seen man, you know what I mean? What? Like, what's going on? It's lit.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's sort of like pushed me. He's stayed safe, but he's pushed me aside a little bit and kept walking. And I'm like, why has he done that? So anyway, I just didn't think nothing of it. I didn't take it personally. And I'm talking to Kane and Ashley D. And I don't know why Ashley D. I always name as the MC, but Ashley. So anyway, he's come back out. Bashi's come back out, and then he's looking at Kane as if to say like there's a strong beat, like something's gonna happen. So anyway, Kane's just laughing, but Bashi's taking this thing very seriously. Like it's almost like they're gonna fight. But I know that they're friends though. I know outside of all of this they're friends. And then that's when it clicked. Oh, he's in character and he's not coming out.
Yeah.
He was in character all day. When I tell you, I was there from 11 o'clock in the morning. We must have left at like maybe 2 o'clock in the morning. My man was in character the whole day. Is that something that you embody as well sometimes? Or like, did you see that from him, in fact? Or anyone?
Do you know what? I didn't actually have any scenes with Bashi.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was actually kind of upsetting because I was actually looking forward to working with him.
Yeah.
Didn't get any scenes with...
So you was never really on set with him at all?
No, I didn't get any scenes with Dave either.
Oh, yes. I saw him there as well.
I had a brief scene with Michael and Kadeem, but that was literally like when they was in the park having a conversation.
Yeah.
And you see me and Sean, we were scouting them in the bushes. But that was literally the only scenes that I had with them.
They call that method
not
acting
to be
as
fair.
well.
Yeah.
It was like, dude, and I thought that's just another one of my fascinations when I'm like watching backstage and just seeing how like people are us relaxed also how some people are like getting themselves into that, almost that vibe that you was talking about before, where you've got to dig into a certain place, especially when life is going pretty well, everything's pretty good. So while I'm in here, I need to make sure that I stay like this, so that I'm fully in that vibe. But I just thought watching them and knowing that they're friends outside of it was just the most interesting thing. And seeing Dave as well back there was quite interesting too. But he bodied it, man.
His character,
so sick.
I'm fuming they killed him off, I swear to God, because he's like the perfect villain.
Perfect.
He was like the perfect villain.
We were saying, that I felt like there was a few of us that said this as well. The only thing that we felt that was missing from that, aside from the fact that they killed him off, is that he's such an eclectic madman. And when you come from a certain place, youths like this,
yeah.
But like, we would have liked to have seen him do something that showed his madness in a sense. Do you get what I'm saying? Like him doing a complete madness, because he was so on the verge of doing that.
Literally,
do you know what I mean?
From when he come out of the van, when he come out of the van spitting Jay Huss's bar, that was it. I knew, okay, it's gonna be a mad one. Yeah. So nah, man, I do wish there was a little bit more of him. I do wish there was a little.
I'm
more
hoping
of him.
that did they shoot him in the head?
I don't know.
You know what? If he'd been shot in the back,
there's a possibility he could come
or
back.
Shot in the chest or whatever, he could. You know what? Maybe what they could do is quick intensive care thing, coma, all of that, boom, and then you know what? He comes out of it. But maybe he's got a situation where he can't. He's got a disability.
Yeah.
So he can't act on that. Like maybe he can't walk properly, or you know what I mean, his arms mash up or whatever.
Or he's completely blind in that eye.
Do you get what I'm saying? How has things changed for you since though?
It's changed a lot, but then it hasn't changed at the same time. I say it's changed a lot on regards to like work, like publicity and things like that, everybody knowing who I am. But then at the same time, I'm still little old Jasmine from West London. So yeah, I haven't changed as a person, but obviously there's just plenty more opportunities there. There's a lot more doors open. There's doors open for me to be able to like help get my little sister into a position that she wants to be in as well. So it's nice to be able to push myself and be able to push other people at the same time. Yeah, my main thing right now is just getting myself to wherever I need to be able to get to, and then be able to give back as well.
Word. Are you happy?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. Don't get me wrong, like obviously I think after Top Boy come out, there's like my anxiety has definitely gone up a little bit.
Why is that? Why do you think that is? Or was?
I think that's just more because I have to be a little bit more aware of myself and my surroundings now. Not necessarily because of anything bad happening, just more of like because everybody knows my face now.
Yeah, of course.
You know, so obviously like people are gonna want pictures and things like that, and obviously I'm a smoker, so it's like I don't really want to be seen like with big fags in my hand and somebody's asking me for a picture and all this kind of stuff. Course, yeah. Like I can't be like chilling in like, you know, my usual locations and things like that, like where me and some of my friends go to have drinks and stuff, like having to change those locations to like more prestige locations now because people realise that I'm there. Next thing you know, the whole club is full with a bag of madness.
Of course.
So I don't need 30 people surrounding my table. I'm just trying to vibes.
Yeah, there becomes like a little bit of, when you've gone from a person who's just working away at your craft and being relatively unknown, people still know you are, but relatively unknown, to being in a situation now where so many people know your face and you're out. I guess naturally you would have an element of, and it's not a vain thing, it's just like, I don't know who's watching. I could trip up, bust my face. Next minute, someone's got it on the phone
Snapchat
and all that
and
type
all this
of
kind of stuff. Yeah, man. So it's mad. But then obviously
comes with it, I guess, right?
Yeah, literally, you just have to be careful and make sure that you surround yourself with the right people. Definitely. And then either way, you're always all right. I mean, like, I've got 5 brothers. None of them are biologically related to me, so I'm sweet as a nut, mate.
Yeah.
I go out. I'm securityed up. I got my 5 brothers. I'm okay.
Yeah.
Like, but
it's good to speak to some, like, you know, if you've got people around you that you could just speak to about just how you feel and stuff like that occasionally, it's good, man. But yeah, listen, man.
Yeah.
Love and guidance to you, and well done with everything that you've done. As I said, you've bodied that, and I just know that there's just going to be some amazing things that are going to come from you it's literally not even nearly the start, you know, and you've already been a part of something that is, you know, gonna go down. People are gonna be talking about this for such a long time, and your character was so prominent in it, and also not only was it prominent, it was all the things that I feel like some of the things that we talked about in the article that you nailed. The emotional side of it, and also the believability. Do you get me? So yeah, man, well done.
Thank you.
And good luck with everything in the future and stuff like that. And we'll connect again at some point.
Oh, definitely, without a doubt. But before I go, I just want to add one thing. I always like to leave a little lasting message before I leave anywhere. And this is like a shout out to all of my young people that are studying right now. Like, I will tell you, and I tell my little sister this every single day, you guys need to stick in your education, because it's all good. You see us on Netflix and things like that, and it's nice that you guys look up to us as role models and stuff, but best believe we all have something to fall back on. And if we don't, we're involved with properties and things like that. So therefore, for you to be able to get where you need to get to, educate yourselves, guys, because without something to fall back on, you're semi. So yeah.
And learn money. Learn
yes,
about
learn how to balance your money.
Yeah. Love every time.
Thank you.